Forget all the intros, forget all the editing. Mica's family has just settled with John Paul Miller. It's left a lot of people feeling a lot of different ways. Now, I've said on this channel, my focus of this case was always passing Mica's law. That was an issue in that state. That was a problem in that state. And I've already made videos about the holes in that state's laws. And there is still a chance to get something passed. But who really won here? Let's talk about Regina Ward and the Francis family. She came out with some heavy allegations, a lot of bold claims, and had a lot of people convinced John Paul was going to get some sort of wrongful passing suit. And I've said multiple times on this channel, John Paul is just getting on TikTok. He's doing interviews. He's acting as if he doesn't have a care in the world. What does he know that we don't? So is this a situation where Regina Ward just came out with some bold talk, and as soon as a dollar sign was flashed, she folded up like a beach chair? A lot of people are disappointed in how this thing ended. They're saying John Paul won everything. We're not getting justice for Mica. And if fair coverage and an open conversation is something you prefer, hit that like button and subscribe down below, because I see it differently. Let's all keep in mind, John Paul was never charged with any crime in the passing of Mica Miller. And let's also keep in mind, everything said against John Paul was an allegation. We have not seen any proof of one thing or the other. Now, he did make a comment in an interview that the Francis family was just after money. And a lot like my previous video when the Francis family slipped up, in my own opinion, do you believe he was right on that one? I think what's got most people upset is so many people out there in this country and in this world suffer in a DA or DV situation. And so many people have fought tooth and nail to climb out of those situations. And when they heard a story like this, it pulled on their heartstrings. They could relate to what Mica was saying she went through. And I fully understand that. But I don't see this as a situation where John Paul won everything and he's getting off scot-free. Everything said here is an allegation, and I encourage everybody to do their own research and form their own opinion. And I'll link that interview down in the description below, but here's the reality of it. Everybody blaming Regina Ward, saying she folded, needs to understand something. If the Francis family wasn't interested in this supposed settlement, she wouldn't have agreed to it. Now, she could have easily forced the Francis family or tried to force them and say, hey, you need to take this deal. But ultimately, if the Francis family wasn't interested in this settlement, they wouldn't have had to take it. And I don't really view John Paul as winning either, because he said he had proof to back up his claims as well. And if he wasn't interested in taking this deal, there is no amount of talk from that attorney to make him change his mind. Here's the reality of the situation. Both parties have agreed to something. And I'm also pretty sure both parties had to give up something to get to that agreement. So nobody won here. Nobody lost. The fair way to look at this thing is it's a draw. I understand how upset a whole bunch of people are going to be after hearing this news, but the reality of the situation is neither party won. Now, if you disagree with what I'm saying, you can let me know down in the comments below, because that's how an open conversation works. The Francis family has asked that everybody stop protesting the church. And if you want to focus your energy on something, focus your energy on passing Mica's law, which, as far as I'm concerned, is something I'm still highly interested in. It's something I've always been interested in, and I've always talked about it on this channel. But for those of y'all who got upset with me saying I was taking John Paul's side or not blatantly accusing him of all sorts of stuff, this is the reason why. Let's just be perfectly honest. If 100% of those things the Francis family said he did is actually true, 100%, and can be proven in a court of law, do you believe they would have settled? I can't help but believe within this particular discussion there was a whole lot of posturing going on. As I say, I don't know that for a fact. Everything on this channel is alleged. Please do your own research and form your own opinion. But this is why it was important to hear John Paul's side. This is why it's important to sit back, not be overcome with emotion, and hear both sides of the argument. And like I said in my previous video, when both sides say they have proof to back up their side of the story, there's certainly more than what we know. I don't believe anybody should be discouraged. I don't believe anybody should stop caring. There is still opportunities to see Mica's law go through. there is still something to focus on. But the family says leave the church alone, protest somewhere else, let these people have their right to worship. This was just supposed to be a quick video, and I don't see this as a situation where any one person won over the other. I could almost bet money that both parties gave up a little bit of something and reached an agreement. This isn't Regina Ward folding. This isn't John Paul's attorney pulling tricks. John Paul and the Francis family had to come together and agree on this. So let's ease up on Regina a little bit. There will be no wrongful passing suit. And I'll be perfectly honest with you, I'm not necessarily convinced the FBI is looking at anything either. But that's all I got. I got other stuff to do. Y'all be safe now.